power with this package. The real question is, why show up here if you have an orange daddy doing your work for you? This vote actually puts every Republican on record as supporting Elon's attack on democracy, when even Steve Bannon said that Elon and Doge found no waste. With this package, Republicans are one step closer to a country that looks more like the adversaries we profess to oppose. Americans will be left to clean up this mess, and we will have zero standing in the international community, and we will have zero claim to global leadership while you all have killed off Elmo. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this trash, and I yield back.
I reserve.
Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities towards the President. The gentlewoman from Connecticut reserves. The gentlewoman from Michigan yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I never realized Elmo was more important to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle than the American people. But anyways, I yield 1 minute to my friend, Mr. Musser from Pennsylvania.
The gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank Chairwoman McClain for her leadership. Mr. Speaker, during President Trump's first term, we had pro-growth policies, pro-growth economy, and tax revenues growth. Then, even after COVID, the Biden administration accelerated the deficit with unchecked spending, caused the deficit to double, which increased service on the debt from $400 billion in 2019 to nearly $1 trillion last year. That's why this package takes steps to rein in irresponsible agencies. Some have been taken over by ideologues doing things that are simply not in the interest of the American people. Maybe USAID has done some good things, but they've also done many things that were totally inappropriate. Agencies like this need to be defunded or reformed. The American people aren't going to put up with it anymore. To that end, why is the government still funding public television and radio when most people have hundreds of channels to get their news and information from? And these stations are some of the most partisan stations out there. Can you imagine, it was stated earlier, if a conservative station was funded, the left would have screamed, vilified, and exterminated it a long while ago. Mr. Speaker, let's pass this rescission package and codify President Trump's spending reductions into law and save our country along the way. I yield back.
I reserve.
The gentlewoman from Michigan reserves. The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized and has 30 seconds remaining.
I reserve.
Gentlewoman from Connecticut reserves. The gentlewoman from Michigan is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to Representative Boebert from the state of Colorado.
Gentlewoman from Colorado is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support today of H.R. 4, President Trump's big, beautiful rescissions package. This bill slashes radical foreign aid at the State Department, USAID, and the U.S. Institute of Peace for woke gender ideology and equity nonsense that mocks American values. Why are we bankrolling wokeism abroad when ranchers and small business owners in my district are struggling? H.R. 4 defunds PBS and NPR's biased media circus. For years, taxpayers have been forced to subsidize a public media system that's less about informing and more about indoctrinating. To my friends across the aisle, I know you love your globalist pet projects, but the American people are fed up. The voters that sent us here are watching, and they're done seeing their dollars shipped overseas and funneled into biased media. H.R. 4 is a victory for taxpayers, and I urge its adoption. I yield.
Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
Gentlewoman from Michigan reserves. Members are reminded to address their remarks to the chair. The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized.
I reserve.
The gentlewoman reserves. The gentlewoman from Michigan is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Onder.
Gentleman from Missouri is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of H.R. 4 to codify President Trump's Doge tax cuts. Americans have been awash in unsustainable debt and waste, and Americans have known it long before Doge began its work. But what many didn't realize is just how bad the problem is. $14 million in cash vouchers for illegals at the southern border, $3.3 million for being LGBTQ in the Caribbean, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, and $1.5 million to promote LGBTQ employment in Serbia, not to mention the hundreds of millions wasted on the politically biased government media known as NPR. Enough is enough. We must rein in Washington's reckless spending and hold bureaucrats accountable. I urge my colleagues to join me and put Americans and fiscal sanity first in this, what I hope will be the first of many rescission bills. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized.
I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. The gentlewoman from Michigan is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, how much time remains on each side?
The gentlewoman has 8 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Webster.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, the American people are called on today to do what they had been asked to do from their elected officials, and that is cut waste, fraud, and abuse. Today we deliver. Together with President Trump, we are eliminating billions of dollars of spending that's wasteful spending on left-wing organizations who mock millions of Americans. We'll also eliminate wasteful spending on radical programs in lands far, far away that do not put America first. I consistently voted to cut the spigot of spending, and I'll continue to do that, continue the record, and pass this bill today. I urge my colleagues to do the same. Yield back.
Reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. The gentleman from Michigan, gentlewoman
I
from
reserve.
Connecticut
reserve.
reserves. The gentlewoman from Michigan is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. Moore.
Gentleman from West Virginia is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As chairman of the RSC Rescissions Task Force, I'm proud to support this bill to codify the DOGE cuts. The American people know waste, fraud, and abuse when they see it. They want us to eliminate Democrats' radical agenda, including $5.1 million for global LGBTQ movements, $3 million for circumcisions in Zambia, and $833,000 for transgender surgeries in Nepal. This package also ensures tax dollars aren't used to weaponize media against the American people. The CEO of NPR called President Trump a fascist while claiming her network is unbiased. These outlets can be as insane as they want. They might want to check CNN's ratings before doing that. They're just not going to do it with the American taxpayer dollars anymore. This rescissions package is only the first step, and I urge my colleagues to support it. I yield back. Thank you.
Reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves.
Reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentlewoman is
Mr.
recognized.
Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Harrigan.
Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, the American people are sick and tired of watching Washington burn through their paychecks on wasteful, ridiculous, and downright offensive projects. This rescissions package is our chance to prove that we still remember who we work for here in Washington. We're cutting $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam, $47,000 for transgender surgeries in Colombia, and nearly $10 billion for NPR, PBS, and other bloated liberal pet projects that have no place in a responsible budget. Washington acts like taxpayer dollars are theirs to waste, but they are not. Every cent belongs to the men and women who work long hours, pay their bills, and expect their government to act with a shred of discipline. This is about more than numbers. It is about trust. It's about respect, and it is about time. I urge my colleagues to pass this bill and prove that Congress can still do the right thing.
Reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves.
I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I now yield 2 minutes from the gentlelady from North Carolina, Ms. Mace. South Carolina, my apologies.
Thank you.
Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under President Donald Trump's leadership, this rescission package codifies $9.4 billion in DOGE cuts by canceling some of the most egregious
Biden-era waste, fraud, and abuse. Here are just some of the funding we are canceling today. $4 million for sedentary migrants in Colombia. $3 million for circumcision, vasectomies, and condoms in Zambia. $5.1 million to strengthen the resilience of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer global movements. $3 million for Iraqi Sesame Street. $2.5 million for teaching young children how to make environmentally friendly reproductive health decisions. $833,000 for services for transgender people, sex workers, and their clients and sexual networks in Nepal. The American people are begging Congress to get off its ass and codify the Doge cuts and stop this taxpayer-funded nonsense. Failure is not an option, and I yield back.
Mr. Speaker, I'm prepared to close.
The gentlewoman reserves.
Reserves.
The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume. I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record the text of Representative Kelly's amendment.
Without objection.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, President Trump promised to bring down the cost of living. He made it worse. He is illegally stealing congressionally approved taxpayers' dollars and these are services for the American people. You want to deal with waste, fraud, and abuse? It's to deal with cutting back on the $4.5 trillion tax cut for the billionaires that the Republicans have supported and voted on. Tax cuts for billionaires and the biggest corporations. If you vote for this bill, you own every reckless cut crafted by Elon Musk. You are rubber stamping illegal cuts, and you own it. And I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields. Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities towards the president. The gentlewoman from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to be clear. These rescissions should get bipartisan support. We, as elected officials on both sides of the aisle, have been entrusted with the hard-earned tax dollars of the American people. The duly elected President of the United States has asked this Congress to protect the American people's tax dollars. It is the least we can do. The administration has identified waste, fraud, and abuse of American taxpayer dollars. It is our responsibility as representatives to act on those abuses and rescind the money. All of us should be able to vote to eliminate $45 million in duplicative spending in the African Development Program. We should all be able to support eliminating $1.7 billion for radical gender projects in the Economic Support Fund. Every member of this chamber should be able to support a rescission of $2.5 billion in the development of assistance programs. That has bankrolled corrupt leaders in foreign countries. Mr. Speaker, the American people are watching their representatives today. Emphasis on their representatives. They are watching to see if their representatives have the courage to actually fight for them. Or will their representatives defend waste, fraud, and abuse of the bloated federal government? I can say with certainty that House Republicans will always put American people first. And I hope on the other side of the aisle, they might have the courage to join us. I encourage my colleagues to join me in voting yes on H.R. 4 so that we can take the necessary first step in rescinding the wasteful spending of the American taxpayer dollars. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman yields back the balance of her time. All time for debate has expired. Pursuant to House Resolution 499, the previous question is ordered on the bill. The question is on engrossment and third reading of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Third reading.
A bill to rescind certain budget authority proposed to be rescinded in special messages transmitted to the Congress by the President on June 3, 2025, in accordance with Section 1012A of the Congressional Budget and Empowerment Control Act of 1974.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Illinois seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I have a motion to recommit at the desk.
The clerk will report the motion.
Ms. Kelly of Illinois moves to recommit the bill H.R. 4 to the Committee on Appropriations.
Pursuant to Clause B of Rule 19, the previous question is ordered on the motion to recommit. The question is on the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The motion is not agreed to. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Illinois seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those in favor of a vote for the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, further proceedings on this question will be postponed. Proceedings will resume on questions previously postponed. Votes will be taken in the following order. Passage of S 331, the motion to recommit, H.R. 4. Passage of H.R. 4, if ordered, the motion to recommit, H.R. 2056, and passage of H.R. 2056, if ordered. The first electronic vote will be conducted as a 15-minute vote. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, remaining electronic votes will be conducted as 5-minute votes. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is to vote on passage of Senate 331, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Senate 331, an act to amend the Controlled Substances Act with respect to the scheduling of fentanyl-related substances and for other purposes.
The question is on the passage of the bill. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 15-minute vote. this vote, the yeas are 321 and the nays are 104. With no members voting present, the bill is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the question on agreeing to the motion to recommit on H.R. 4, offered by the gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. Kelly, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will designate the motion.
Motion to recommit H.R. 4 offered by Ms. Kelly of Illinois.
The question is on agreeing to the motion to recommit. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 208 and the nays are 218. The motion is not adopted. The question is on passage of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Connecticut
I
seek
ask for the
recognition?
yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 214, the nays are 212. The bill is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Parliamentary inquiry. As a combat veteran, I want to know what this House is going to do. But because a senior senator was attacked, illegally attacked, and drugged to the ground. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House now be adjourned.
The question is on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Ask for a roll call vote.
A recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 206 and the nays are 218. The motion is not adopted. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the question on agreeing to the motion to recommit on H.R. 2056, offered by the gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. Lynch, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will redesignate the motion.
Motion to recommit H.R. 2056, offered by Mr. Lynch of Massachusetts.
The question is on agreeing to the motion to recommit. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 205 and the nays are 215. The motion is not adopted. The question is on passage of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. For what purpose does the member from Massachusetts seek recognition?
I ask for the call of the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. Vote. The yeas are 224 and the nays are 194. The bill is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House of Communication.
The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., June 12, 2025. I hereby designate the period from Thursday, June 12, 2025 through Sunday, June 22, 2025 as a district work period under Clause 13 of Rule 1. Signed sincerely, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent to address the House out of order.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, 9 years ago today, on June 12, 2016, at 2:02 a.m., our little happy town of Orlando, Florida, was changed forever as we saw 49 angels and 53 others who were killed and 53 others who were injured in a mass shooting during Latin night at the Pulse nightclub, a safe place for the LGBTQ community located just south of downtown Orlando. At the time, it was the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. I was proud to work on both sides of the aisle in June of 2019 to introduce the National Pulse Memorial. In June 2020, it passed the House but did not pass the Senate. But finally, in June 2021, it was introduced and passed into law and signed by President Biden. We know that this national memorial happened because this was a national tragedy. At the time, we saw memorials and moments of silence across the nation, across districts, from sea to shining sea. And in remembrance of these who we lost and those who were injured and their families, I ask my colleagues to please stand and to join me for a moment of silence. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair will now entertain requests for 1-minute speeches. For what purpose does the gentleman from Arizona seek recognition?
Unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute, revise and extend my remarks.
So ordered. Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise to honor the memory and selfless service of Officer Gabriel Facio of the Apache Junction Police Department. End of watch, June 8, 2025. Gabriel was wounded in the line of duty on June 2, 2025, while attempting to apprehend a suspect who was brandishing a weapon and waving it at motorists and residents. Gabriel and his fellow officers bravely responded to the call and pursued the suspect further south. After using all available means to bring in the suspect without incident, their commands were not obeyed and the suspect could not be brought down with less lethal tools. The suspect fired his weapon at Gabriel and his fellow officers who returned fire. Sadly, in the exchange, Gabriel was struck in the face before the suspect was hit and taken into custody. Gabriel fought valiantly, but could not overcome the wounds he sustained. 6 days later, he passed away at only 46 years old, surrounded by his family and fellow officers. We honor his sacrifice as the first Apache Junction police officer to be killed in the line of duty. He was beloved by his fellow officers and his dear family, with whom we mourn. Gabriel, we pray for your family and brothers in blue. Your service and protection of the people of Apache Junction in Arizona's 5th District will live on forever. Thank you, and may God welcome you home. And I'd ask for a moment of silence, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today on this National Women Veterans Day as a veteran of the United States Air Force to tell Secretary Hegseth and President Trump that women who raise their hand and swear an oath to protect and defend this nation are not going anywhere, and we will not be silent. From the earliest days of our nation, women have always served, both officially and unofficially, facing off against America's enemies. And today, women make up nearly 18% of the active duty force and 22% of our National Guard and Reserve. Studies prove that their service improves innovation and mission outcomes, making our military stronger, smarter, and